Hi everyone, we are continuing our search for truth home Bible studies with lesson 5 chart 3. Right. So lesson 5 chart 3 looks at the development of the lives of the Israelites, right, after the first three kings, right, with King Saul, right, followed by King David and King Solomon. So we look at how the people of God, their lives continue to develop after King Solomon. Now, during this season, we begin to see how there's a lot of unrest, right, in the nation of Israel, right, and that led to all kinds of disastrous consequences. King Rehoboam, which is the son of Solomon, inherited the throne from his father, right, and the Bible describes him as someone who's oppressive. In fact, at a certain point, people came to King Rehoboam, right? Sorry, King Rehoboam, and say, well, I mean, your father, towards his last years, had been an oppressive king. We pay a lot of taxes, we work very, very hard, right? Please lighten the burden on us, right? King Rehoboam, right, felt that I mean, he needed to show strength. He needed to continue to rule with an iron fist, right? So he told the people who came to see him, no, I will not budge. I will continue to rule as I please, right? And because he refused to listen to the people's pleas and concerns, they decided to revolt. They say, well, maybe it's time for us to have a new leader, right? And they decided to follow a new leader, and this new leader, Jeroboam, right, became king. What happened was this, that because of this particular dispute, right, you see the nation of Israel dividing into a northern kingdom and a southern kingdom, right? So the people that followed Jeroboam were the majority actually, right? So the northern kingdom comprises most of the tribes of Israel. Now, as we can see later on, the Northern Kingdom, right, was basically a kingdom that was full of power struggle, right? Over a period of time, it was ruled by different families, right? And many of these was a case of families usurping power from the previous king. In the Southern Kingdom, you see a little bit more continuity in the sense that it was basically ruled by the descendants of David. Now, in the Northern Kingdom, right, the sad fact was this, that every single king in the Northern Kingdom was evil, right? The king after king, right, whoever succeeded the previous king, right, all of them were evil, right? Their evil came in the form of leading people to worship other gods, right? Basically, they followed the practices and the cultures of the surrounding countries, right? Now, however, whenever this happened, or rather throughout this period of time, God would send his prophets, right? So you see the names here, people like Jonah, Hosea, Amos, Elijah, Elisha. These were prophets that God sent to warn the Israelites of the evil that they are engaged in and to ask them to repent, right? Okay. However, when they continue to be unrepentant, right, God finally judged the nation of Israel, the Northern Kingdom, by allowing them to be invaded and exiled to Assyria. So in 721 BC, the Northern Kingdom was invaded by the Assyrians and the people were deported. So this particular Northern Kingdom ceased to exist from 721 BC onwards. Okay. Now let's look at the Southern Kingdom. In the Southern Kingdom, every king that ruled were basically from David's descendants, right? Now, from time to time, you had good kings, like kings who realized that they have strayed from God and they sought to restore true worship, putting in certain practices that were lost, things that were originally commanded but they were lost, right? But again, there were also evil kings kings that led the people down ungodly paths. In a similar way to the Northern Kingdom, right? Kings who decided to engage in worship of other gods into all kinds of ungodly practices, right? So like the Northern Kingdom, God will send prophets to warn his people to repent, right? So these are some of the names of the prophets, and you might find these names familiar because these prophets have books named after them in the Bible, right? However, it's inevitable because of their unwillingness to repent, right? Their evil ways soon led to God's judgment. And similar to the Northern Kingdom, right? In 586 BC, the Southern Kingdom, Judah, was invaded by the Babylonians, and the people were exiled. So in 586 BC, the Southern Kingdom ceased to exist, and all the people were deported to Babylon. However, even in exile, God continued to send his prophets to give people hope, to let them know that they are right now being judged, but God has not forgotten them. God hasn't forgotten his promises, right? So there were two prophets, Daniel and Ezekiel, who lived during this period of the exile, right? And they were God's instruments to give people hope, to give people instructions of what they can expect, because God is a covenant-keeping God. Now, so let's have some key takeaways as we close up this session, right? Now, from the very beginning, the Israelites were supposed to honor their relationship with God, right? And this was something that was mentioned by God to them from the early on in the Old Testament, right? From Abraham's time, right, to the time they met God at Mount Sinai, where God says, I'm going to make you my special people, but I have things for you to obey. I have commandments for you to obey, right? But they're constantly straying, worshipping other gods, doing all kinds of evil, right? And when you see what has happened, when you read through the Old Testament about kings, about how the different kingdom, Northern and Southern Kingdom, continue to develop, right? Many of these basically just reaffirm God's warning to the people during Samuel's time, that man's leadership, right, is imperfect and problematic, right? However, despite mankind's stubbornness, God has always shown patience and mercy, right? He will always send his prophets to give them a chance to repent, so that he can give them mercy and not judge them. However, unfortunately, as you can see in these cases of both the Northern and Southern Kingdom, both of the kingdoms were finally judged as they tested God's patience, right? But again, even in judgment, there is mercy, because God says after a period of judgment, he will bring the people back because of his promise to Abraham, because of his promise to the forefathers of the Israelites. Right. Okay, so that's all we have for us in this particular session. Thank you.